Hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining us today. We're here with the spokesperson for FlySax. Her name is Thabisile Sikhakhane, and she's joined us today to talk to us about a very exciting new venture in South Africa. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Sarah. It's good to join you.
Great. Well, we wanted to get you on camera because this is the first of its kind that I'm aware of. It's the SAX employees have decided to take over the airline, and they bid to purchase the airline. There's a crowdfunding scheme involved, and there's some anchor investors that they've been very secretive about up until now. And we want to understand from Thabisile how this journey started, that the employees decided to get involved in the management and leadership of the airline.
Okay, how the journey started is, if you remember the history of the old SA Express, it was put under provisional liquidation, and we formed a group and we tried to get our monies from Department of Enterprise, who was the shareholder or still is shareholder of SA Express. We last received our salaries in February, and we were trying to get them to pay the salaries and to retrench the employees before final liquidation. However, that did not yield any positive results. We then sat and thought about given that the past was bad, our current is bad, how can we then change the future? And we came together with Uprise Africa, and we formed an SPV to try and bid for the airline. That's how the idea came about.
And is everybody on board trying to save their jobs? Is there this feeling of excitement sort of in the staff and the employees?
There is a feeling of excitement. However, but given the past SA Express, there's obviously a group that just doesn't want anything to do with aviation anymore, having had the bad experience that they went through. There's a group that just want to move on with their lives, and then there's a group that's very excited to be part of the new airline and the future SA Express.
Okay, great. So now you have won the bid and you're moving forward with the plan. And when we chatted last week, you said that the hope was that you would start flying early next year. What will the airline be called? Are you going to retain the same name, SA Express, or are you going to call it something different?
We're going to keep SA Express. Because we believe in the brand, and I think the reason why we even bidded for the company is because we believed in the brand itself, and it's a very strong brand with a very good footprint, and it's our passengers identify with SA Express, so it should not work for us if we had to change it. So it's still SA Express, the new SA Express.
No, that's great. And is there a board of directors? Is there a CEO? Can you reveal anything about the leadership of the airline going forward?
Well, Travel News would be the first ones that you announce the board and our advisory panel, which is a group of experienced aviators. For now, we are still in discussions, but I promise that you guys would be the first one to know before the end of October.
Wow. Okay. So moving ahead with that.
Yes.
And what about the government, the stakeholder? Will they be retaining any shares in the airline, or will it be a completely private airline?
The plan is to keep a minority shareholding for the government as a strategic partner, of course, but with conditions.
And when you say minority, any idea of what their shareholding would be?
Right now, we don't have the numbers, as we have not sat with them as yet and get to understand how far are they willing to let go of this SOE.
Okay, so this will be one of South Africa's first privatization ventures. It's very exciting. Yes. Wow.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
And up until now, you guys have been quite secretive about your anchor investors. So I understand that 20 to 30% of the capital to fund the new airline is coming from a group of private investors. And then the remainder of the funding will be raised through the crowdfunding platform. But who are the investors? Are you able to tell us anything about their identities?
Unfortunately, not now, since we had three and we're still in discussion. So we'd obviously choose the one that's aligned with our vision. But for now, we cannot disclose. We'd probably be able to disclose that in the next 2 weeks or so.
Okay, great.
Yes.
I mean, one of the questions put out there by naysayers is SACS hasn't been profitable for a while, and we're looking at sort of a similar group of employees coming back and assumedly working in similar positions. What are you going to do differently as a team to make the airline profitable where it hasn't worked out previously?
Okay. I think I believe that the difference now is that as the workers, we knew the business better. We were part of the business and we are on the floor and we knew where help was needed. We had innovative ideas, but unfortunately we were not able to implement them. But now coming together with the experienced aviators, as I mentioned before, that we have teamed up with and our innovative ideas, and given that the sense of attitude with our colleagues would be different because now they are owners, it would make us a more productive airline like any other, more than any other airline that's operating right now, because everyone would have a sense of ownership and all of us would want to make it work, as we do not want to go back to the same space as we were early this year.
Okay, exciting. Now,
yes, it is.
During this whole process, SACS has been sort of a lot of the assets have been put up for liquidation. Have many of the aircraft been sold? What are you left with? Do you have plans to purchase new aircraft? Sort of what are the remaining sort of assets that you are working with?
Okay, the aircraft which the new SA Express intend to use were not part of the old SA Express asset list. So the old ones are still with the old SA Express, will be coming in with new aircrafts.
Wow, okay. And what can you share? Will it be a Boeing fleet, an Airbus fleet, any particular sort of...
It's still early days. It's still very early days, Sarah. Since we only received approval last week, Wednesday, so you can imagine it's been hectic with meetings, trying to get agreements and proposals in place for all these things. So we still haven't received a formal a formal response from any of the manufacturers that we have approached. But I promise you that as soon as we have that information, you'll be the first one to know.
Okay, great. So SAA presently aren't flying, and Mango's sort of been grounded over the weekend, and it's due to sort of outstanding payments. Do you foresee that you will have any of these issues going forward, or will the new owners and the new funds be settling those sort of legacy debts and allowing you to move forward?
And no, I think that's what would set our airline apart, since we would be starting with no historical debt and liabilities. So we will not have those issues. We'll be starting on a very clean slate, and we'd be able to manage our funds better. And because we'll be cutting a lot of agreements and all these costs that had affected the previous airline. So we're really trying to cut our costs as much as possible to make us profitable in the near future.
And the employees that will be staying on, you mentioned at the beginning of our interview that you hadn't been receiving salaries from the stakeholder for a few months. Is there a plan on when staff would start to see remuneration again?
That part is still with the Department of Enterprise. The department has requested some funds from National Treasury to settle the salary bill. So that is still underway. It's still a process. We haven't received any feedback as yet.
So you're expecting backdated payments for this period where you haven't been receiving payments and salaries?
According to the liquidation laws, the department only, I think, owes us two months' salaries.
Okay.
So the other months were covered by TRS from the UIF. Yes. So that's the back pay that we are still waiting for from the Department of Enterprise.
And then when the new airline starts flying, the new investors would be covering the salary bill going forward? Is that how it would work?
Yes, when the investors come and the new airline has been set up, we obviously would have new employment contracts, and the investor would definitely be the one that would be covering the salary costs.
That's very exciting. And do you have any idea how many jobs will be retained? The new SACs, what sort of staff complement would you be starting with?
Like I mentioned before earlier on, that we're still in talks with the investor. We'll see how much money we raise now, but the idea is to start off small, given the pandemic and how it has affected the aviation industry. So, and even the number of aircrafts that will be flying would be less than what the old SA Express was flying. So we'd be hiring according to the aircrafts that we are flying, and that would be us starting smaller and growing as the pandemic clears out.
Well, thank you for talking to us and sharing everything that you can. I understand that there's a lot that needs to be sorted out, but we really do appreciate your openness. And we can't wait to hear more. It's a very exciting venture, and we wish you lots of luck with it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and affording us this time to be able to explain to the audience out there. And we hope to share good news moving forward and keep you updated on this exciting journey that we've embarked on.
Thanks, Tamsile. That's awesome.